Hey everyone, welcome to game number 3 of the Leeds one day tournament. As I said previously, this is a all Spotty Dog affair between myself, the Dwarves, and Pell with his Warriors of the Dark Gods. We're down on table, I think 10 or 11 out of 12, so it's not really where we wanted to be this time a few weeks ago. So let's go to the lists. Okay, so I don't really want to go through mine because it hasn't been doing too well, but I will do for the last time ever. We've got a Demon Seeker who's supposed to be pretty killy. He's not done anything in the last two lists, but he's supposed to be pretty killy. Runic Master is my general with 4 spells. He's supposed to hinder the enemy's channeling and enhance mine. Hasn't really been happening. BSB, who's supposed to be pretty tough. He got killed in the previous game. Yep, I'll stop moaning. Greybeards with throwing weapons of banner of speed. 20 clans. Marksman with guild crafted guns. That's +1 to hit. Special big block of Kingsguard. With the runic standard swiftness. That's Vanguard deployment. 5 Seekers with Vanguard and Skirmish. That's where the Demon Seeker goes. Couple of attack copters. Down in rare, Anvil of Power with the Rune of Shattering, which is 2d6 strength 4 hits, Rune of Gleaming, which is hard target and distracting, and Rune of Reckoning, which is rerolls to hit in close combat. 3 Hold Guardians, full command, just a scoring unit and a bit of heavy support, and a couple of Engine Seekers who are brilliant. Then we got Pell's list. We've seen it before, but I'll go through it again. Lord of Chaos on foot, mark change, waist hardened skin. Basically, he's got a 1 up, 4 up, strength 7. Not entirely sure. Our Jeweler's Shield reduces attacks in close combat by 1. So if my Runic Master was to go into combat with him, he'd only have 1 attack, for instance. Yep, Supreme Shielding Talisman at 4 at ward. Hero, he's got his BSB, mark change again. He's got a 1 up, 5 up with the Banner of Courage, a sort of skill. That's +1 to hit in close combat. Sorcerer, mark change again. Level 2 Dispel Scroll, Path of Change. For his core, 23 Wasteland Warriors, mark change, full command, veteran standard bearer with the war standard. In that warrior block, he'll put his BSB, but we'll come to that in deployment. And then to fill out his core, he's got 5 Fallen, mark Wrath, Skirmish, 5 Fallen, mark Wrath, Skirmish, 5 Warhounds, 5 Barbarian Horsemen. Those 4 units there that I've just read out there is chaff, and very good chaff they are too. Special, he's got his 3 Dragon Centaurs with great weapons, 16 Chosen, mark change, halberds, full command, Banner of Discipline. That'll be where his Sorcerer and his Lord go. Rare, it's got double Hellscream Cannon, Battle Shrine, mark change. If you've seen previous battle reports, you know this is not your regular Warriors of the Dark Gods list. So we'll go to deployment and see what Pell's decided to do. Okay, so the scenario was straight up battle line and it was breakthrough. So it was smash and grab, if you like. It was get into combat, breakthrough, get into the opponent's deployment zone and get 3 extra tournament points. We rolled off to determine sides. I won the roll, chose the side I'm on obviously, which meant Pell got to dump all of his stuff down. That's what he's been doing in all of his games. He's been castling up in the corner, being a shooty list with some blasty magic. He likes to sort of wither his opponent down before he engages him in combat. So that's what he decided to do. He hogged his left flank in the corner. And we'll just go through his list quickly then. So he's got a Hellscream Cannon on the flank, some Fallen behind the Wasteland Warriors, just ready to pop out whenever something nasty comes up. He's got his Wasteland Warriors with the BSB front left as you look. Then he's got the War Shrine with some more Fallen behind the Chosen block with his Wizard and his Lord in there. And then on his right flank, which is sort of centre of the table, he's got the 5 Warhounds, 3 Dragon Centaurs, another Hellscream Cannon, and his 5 Horsemen, just ready to go wherever needed really. My left flank, double attack copter, then I've ranked up my Greybeards like that. The plan is just to advance forward, hurling throwing axes, trying to get rid of the Marauder Horsemen and the Warhounds, just trying to clear the chaff really, because if you've watched the past 2 battle reports, I've lost the game in the chaff wars. My Kingsguard's not been able to get into the right combats, thus losing me the game. So went in with a little bit of a plan, we'll see if it works. A couple of Vengeance Seekers next door to the Greybeards. Then I decided to sort of mirror his deployment and go everything over this side. So we've got the Marksman guarding the Anvil. Then we've got the Kingsguard bang next door with Runic Master BSB there. Then we've got the Seekers next door to those guys with the Demon Seeker in there, skirmishing. And then we've got the Hull Guardians behind the Seekers. Okay, so on to Vanguards. I get first Vanguard and I just throw those Kingsguard straight up 12 inches. We played that wall as just open terrain, so I just went straight over it. He then brings his dogs over because he's going to get first turn, so he vanguards them up so that in his turn he can just chuck them straight in front of the Kingsguard. My Seekers then hop over the wall level with the Kingsguard. He then follows suit with his Marauder Horseman, just brings them round from the back of the impassable terrain to come and they're on Kingsguard Overwatch basically. So we go to Warriors of the Dark Gods turn 1, and sure enough, the dogs come up to be a pain in the backside in front of the Kingsguard. We've seen, these guys have seen this before, I've seen it before, and it's just enough to make me cry. The first unit of Fallen come from behind the Chosen Warriors, again on Kingsguard Overwatch. These guys, the Marauder Horsemen, just get back into line. Again, they've got no need to overcommit yet. He's got 4 units of chaff there on one of my guys, so they can afford to just sit back and decide where they want to be. In his magic phase, he gets Pink Fire. He casts Pink Fire onto his Warhounds. Bearing in mind he rolled double 6 for his magic phase, so there wasn't a lot I could do. He tried to cast Infernal Gateway, or whatever it's called now, onto my gunners, but I was forced to bring out the scroll, having run out of dice, dispelling Bolt, or Wave of Transformation, or whatever it's called now from the War Shrine, which was aimed at the Monsters Infantry, I think. Anyway, whatever, it was a 12 magic phase. I ended up running out of dice. This Pink Fire was the one spell I let through, and as you can see, in the shooting phase, he kills off 4 Kingsguards. This is not a very good start at all. And then, yeah, he's Hell Cannon, double Hell Cannon. So what happened first was his Hell Cannon on his right flank targeted my Anvil of Power, missed but scattered dead onto the gunners, killing 3 of them. His other Hellscream Cannon then hit dead on the Anvil and blew it up. We can see where this is going, right? So Dwarven holds turn 1. So Kingsguard straight into the Warhounds there. Just a little bit of an overview of all the things that have happened. The Marksmen move up so that they're in range. The Vengeance Seekers move up, sort of trying to get over to the Kingsguard, being that Pell's redeployed and he's heading that way. The Greybeards move up. Actually, to be honest with you, I forget and only march them up 9. They can march 12 with the Banner of Speed, but that's just me being tired, last game of the day, and not really being particularly interested, to be honest. Yeah, they move up, and the attack copters move up as well. So in the magic phase, we get Rune of Resilience onto these boys from the Runic Master, which means he suffers -1 to hit if he decides to go, -1 to wound, beg your pardon, if he decides to drop some Hellscream Cannon shots on, or any kind of magic, or anything really. We get Rune of Metal onto the Kingsguard unit, which is reroll failed armor saves, and then we go to the combat phase from there, and of course they finish off the Warhounds, but I do suffer a wound. And yet this is just showing movement really. Gunners have moved up, the Guardians have moved up, and the Seekers have moved up there. Okay, so we go to Warriors of the Dark Gods turn 2. His Fallen come up to intercept, stroke, chaff up the Kingsguard, and as you can see at the top of the screen, he sent his other Fallen there to intercept the Seekers. And there's an overview of what's going on. His Marauders appear to have moved up behind the Chosen there. His Dragon Centaurs appear to have come from behind the hill, and everybody's just looking like a pretty solid Kill zone there. I think what happened is his marauders sort of cleared off because the attack copters were coming to play. Okay, so I think what's happened here is the Hell Cannon has killed some. It must be. It must be the Hell Cannon. I've sort of put this photo in the wrong order, but anyway, in the shooting phase, his Hell Cannon's killed, well, 7 Kingsguard basically. Yeah, not great, eh? Even with reroll failed armor saves. And then, yeah, okay, so magic phase, he got pink fire onto one of the fallen and kills off 5 seekers. So, pretty good turn there for the warriors. Dwarven hold turn 2, so the Kingsguard get into the fallen, and one of the vengeance seekers makes it there as well. This demon seeker, who was on his own, his mates are all dead, charges headlong into one of the Hellscream cannons. He gets swift stride against anything monstrous or monster or anything, so he makes that. Over here, one of the attack copters moves up to chaff the Hellscream cannon, and the Greybeards move up and they're going to hurl some axes at the Hellscream cannon. I don't have a picture for it, but I think they managed to chip a wound off the Hellscream cannon there. Just an overview of things that are happening. You see the Demon Seekers made it into the Hellscream cannon. The whole Guardians carefully navigate the wall. I didn't want to take a dangerous terrain, so they just hop over. The Marksman, I think in the shooting phase, the Marksman will actually nick off a couple of Chosen there. Magic phase, get Rune of Reckoning, which is rerolls to hit in close combat. And I get Rune of Resilience on the Marksman. Every little helps. This is the attack copter shooting. Looks like he's done 3 wounds, which is pretty damn good. Right, so combat phase. Yeah. So my Demon Seeker charges him. He would have 7 attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, doing multiple wounds too. Anyway, he takes the Hellscream cannon down to 1 wound. The Hellscream cannon then kills him. But with my "You're coming with me," I do the final wound. So we both just explode, and there's no more Hellscream cannon. There's no more Demon Seeker. So the Demon Seeker he bows out the tournament in a blaze of, do you call it glory? I don't think it's glory. He's not made his points back, but anyway, that's what happened. Over here, Kingsguard kill. Well, actually, no, the Kingsguard don't even get to swing. The Vengeance Seeker kills all of the fallen, and then overruns the Kingsguard. Just kind of reform. Yeah, the Vengeance Seeker takes his Rune of Reckoning with him, and just an overshot of the battlefield there. You can see no more Hellscream cannon, no more Demon Seeker. Vengeance Seeker in the middle there makes it over, and the Greybeards are just sort of hanging around, throwing some axes. So Warriors of the Dark Gods turn 3. Hellscream Cannon charges the copter at the top there. Dragon Centaurs move up cautiously. I'm not quite sure what he's doing there. He maybe just doesn't want to quite get in there yet. He's maybe tempting with a charge actually. Okay, so in his magic phase he gets pink fire onto the fallen. Again, it's a bad magic phase for me, and I have to let this go. It was a sort of lesser of 2 evils. It was either that or I think Wave of Transformation. Oh, I can't remember what the spell's called from the War Shrine. It's the bolt thrower stroke cannon ball shot, and I elect to let pink fire go in favour of dispelling the one from the shrine. He gets Eternal Gateway off. But I'm kind of lucky. He kills 3 marksmen. I think he rolled a low strength. High number of hits, but low strength. And combat, he actually only does 1 wound to the attack copter, but it's enough to win combat. And I think I actually fail my fear test as well. No, actually, what happens is, yeah, no, that's right. I fail my fear test, down to really low weapon skill. He beats me up, but not enough to kill me. I run and he hits the impossible terrain. We weren't quite sure what happened here. Being a flyer, I fought my corner and said that I can fly over the impossible terrain, but he can't get through it. If we're wrong on that, just put it in the comments. I assumed that the attack copter could just fly over it, but if we're wrong, we're wrong. Fair enough. So yeah, that's what happened there. Just a shot of Pell's army, looking fierce there. Dwarven holds turn 3. This Vengeance Seeker charges into the flank of the Dragon Centaurs. In a magic phase, he gets Rune of Reckoning on, but we'll come back to that. Well, if I forget, then he's got the Rune of Reckoning on. These boys. Now, this is a mistake. We'll see later why, but the King's Guard charge the Fallen, and so do the whole Guardians. You'll also notice that the Vengeance Seeker has made it into the Warriors at the back there, so that's good if you can just hold those guys up. The attack copters move around the back to take some shots at the Marauders, at the Barbarians, sorry. What's happening here? Oh, these boys are just going to throw some more axes. I was debating whether to charge these into the Hellscream cannon, but decided against it in favour of throwing some axes. These guys are going to take a shot at the War Shrine, I think. Yep, and we do 3 wounds. I didn't realise that the War Shrine doesn't give a hard target to itself. It only gives it to units within so many inches. So elected to shoot that as opposed to shooting something else with loads of cover. Do 3 wounds. So good work, marksman. Then so in the magic phase, I got Rune of Reckoning off. On the Venue Seeker, you notice above the War Shrine there, he's actually killed 2 of the Dragon Centaurs. There's only 1 left. In this big combat at the bottom, you'll see why it was a mistake putting the King's Guard in there. The Fallen actually killed 4 of them before I sort of kill the rest with combined attacks from the Monstrous Infantry and the King's Guard. I should have just put the Monstrous Infantry into the flank and be done with it. The King's Guard would be sat kind of 6 or 7 inches further back and would be looking stronger for it. The Vengeance Seeker has killed a couple of warriors whilst taking nothing back in return, and the Copters killed off a Barbarian Horseman. So the King's Guard are not looking threatening at all. They're just about finished. So we've got a Warriors of the Dark Gods turn 4. Pell decides now's the time to get stuck into the King's Guard, so he chucks the War Shrine, which is on 2 wounds in, and the Chosen with his Lord and Sorcerer. So bye bye King's Guard, I think. Yeah, the Barbarian Horsemen come up to annoy the Copter. Maybe they have some throwing axes. I can't remember. Anyway, they move up there. He tries to charge his Hellscream cannon into my Greybeards, fails, and I get a stand and shoot and chip a wound away. I think that's what's happened, or maybe that happened in my shooting phase. I'm not sure, but anyway, that's the state of affairs up in that corner. And then over here in the combat phase, yep, the combined charge of the Chosen and the War Shrine sees the end of the King's Guard, but yep, there we are. The BSB and the Runic Master flee far enough to get away from the shrine. What he did was he elected just to chase with the War Shrine and hold and reform with the Chosen to face the Monstrous Infantry for next turn. As you can see there, at the end of sort of his turn, he actually killed the Vengeance Seeker off with the Dragon Centaur. I was lucky. I still had the rerolls to hit on, but just couldn't finish the last 3 wounds. Even though I caused 5 wounds in the previous turn, couldn't do a single wound in that turn. So that's that. Up at the top, you'll see the Vengeance Seeker still fighting on against the Warriors, but he is now wounded. Anyway, Dwarven holds turn 4. So the Runic Master and the BSB they ran from last turn, but they actually continued to run this turn, which isn't great. Yep, there you go. They continue to run. Now, right, so okay, these boys, in an attempt to try and take the 3 wounds off the Dragon Centaurs, they went for a swift reform, failed, ended up just stuck where they were. The intention was to reform, get on top of the hill, and hurl some axes at the Dragon Centaur, get the points for that. Anyway, didn't happen, so they're stuck. Can't see him because of the hill, so they're just stuck there now. I was forced to bring the attack copter over to from behind the impassable terrain to chaff up the hell cannon, but because the impassable terrain's there, when he charges me, I end up having to wheel to him, which means that once he kills the attack copter, he's going to be in the flank of the Greybeard. So it was just one calamity after another with these boys. Over here, shooting. Yep, we kill off 2 more barbarian horsemen with the shooting weapon. Marksman do a wound to the Dragon Centaur there, so it's now on 2. I think this might actually be his turn 5 now, although I've not labelled it. His chosen have charged the monster's infantry there. And yep, they've made them flee. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. Yeah, he's definitely charged the monster's infantry and made them flee at some point. The Vengeance Seeker eats it, but takes another 2 warriors with him. Right, okay, so that must have been my phase. He must have charged the monster's infantry in his turn 4. I think that's what's happened. So yeah, so all that happened in turn 4. So we go to, sorry about that. So we go to Warriors Attack. That's turn 5. He's killed the monstrous infantry with his chosen. He must have reformed, and then he's just marched up. I think actually to try and get some spells off on the BSB and the Runic Master there. Yes, he's charged the attack copter and overran into the side of the Greybeards there. He's also put the barbarian horseman into the front of the copter. I've done a stand and shoot, but haven't done anything. It looks like he's moved his warriors up a little bit for no other reason than he can. These Dragon Centaurs hopped over the hill and is now looking at the flank of the Greybeards again. So we got a combat phase in turn 5. The attack copter finished off the last 2 barbarian horsemen. Well done, mate. The combat phase here, I don't even suffer any wounds. Pell completely flubs his rolls, and I win combat actually, and get a reform. Dwarven Halls turn 5. My BSB and Runic Master have actually rallied, but they're off screen. And that's about it. I think actually the attack copter moves down to come and shoot at the shrine, but I just don't get a photo of it. So it's pretty much all over, so we'll wrap this up pretty quick. So Warriors of Darkos turn 6, he charges my BSB Runic Smith, kills them. I think I do a couple of wounds on his chosen there, but it doesn't really matter. He's got my general, he's got my runic, he's got my general, he's got my BSB, and he's got the King's Guard. That's where all the points are in this game. So let's go to the next slide. Yep, he puts his Dragon Centaur into the back of the Greybeards. And then we'll just go straight to the combat phase. He kills a handful of Greybeards. I do a wound to the Hellscream Cannon and a wound to the Dragon Centaur. And for whatever reason, I managed to hold. Yeah, there's a picture of the attack copter moving up to have a go at the war shrine, but he doesn't get any wounds through, so it remains on 2 wounds there. And this is just a picture of where things are. I guess he's got his warriors up at the top there, hardly injured. He's chosen there, hardly injured again, and he's War Shrine on 2 wounds. And then that's just a picture of things. I think that's actually the last photo. That's the end of the game. The Greybeards hold out against the Dragon Centaur and the Hellscream Cannon. I can't take the last wound off the Dragon Centaur, which is a bit annoying. So what I've got left at the end of the game is the Greybeards and an attack copter, I think. So yeah, there we are. That's the end of the game. The victory goes to the Warriors, 16-4. He had the objective, which was to get. No, actually, we shared the objective because the Greybeards were in his deployment zone. So objectives were shared. Otherwise, it would have been 19-1, which would have been extremely embarrassing. So thankfully, the Greybeards were able to, still be in the deployment zone at the end. 16-4 to the Warriors. Again, it was turn 1, much like in the previous game against the Highborn Elves, where he managed to get into my Demon Seeker straight up. When Pell takes off the Anvil turn 1 and a handful of marksmen, then you go into turn 2 when he's taking off handfuls of Kingsguard. With magic and shooting, I don't really have an answer to that. And he just played the chaff game better than I did. Those Wrath Fallen, they're good chaff. They're really fast, hard to hit with shooting, and they hit pretty hard. So he was, and with the breath weapon on there as well, it was just more than I could handle. But well played, Pell. I don't really know what I could have. The only thing I could think, the mistake that I made, was putting the Kingsguard into the Fallen. Should just let the Monstrous Infantry do the work, but I think the game was already heading towards a defeat at that point anyway. Greybeards, although they did save me some points at the end by A, not dying, and B, getting into a deployment zone, failing that reform and not being able to get on top of the hill to kill that Dragon Centaur, that was annoying. I was a little bit gutting actually, because when the game's going bad, it just goes really bad for you. Sometimes it's nice just to have a little bit of a fist pump moment where you can think, something's actually gone right for a change. But I'm not going to get too bitter about it, because the game was played in very good spirits, as mine and Pell's games always are. So yeah, that's where I finished, on 13 points. But I got 4 in the first game, 5 in the second game, 4 in the third game. So that's 13 points, but I got 10 painting points, putting me up to 23. I basically finished 20th out of 24, which is crap. It's absolutely awful. I was bottom dog. I say that I was the bottom place Spotty Dog member, so it was really disappointing. But on a plus side, I did get nominated for best painted, although I was slightly embarrassed to be amongst some of the contenders there. The Highborn Elf player from game 2, he actually won it, Andy, deservedly so. It was a lovely army. But one shining moment at the end, I suppose. Myself and Max Halford from Max Pounder Reports, we shared most sporting. So even though I was getting battered in every game, hopefully, I must have given a good impression. I'll put a good impression on my opponents. All 3 of them voted for me. Myself and Max got 3 votes each. So I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you to my opponents for voting for me. It won me £10, which bought me a can of black spray paint, which I've used to spray some more movement trays. So yeah, I'm grateful for that. Just a few words on the tournament. I don't want to say too much, because I plan on doing another little video with sort of the results in, and go on and talk about where the other lads placed and such like. But a few words on the tournament. It was good. It was in a good venue. Some good, decent standard of games. The majority of the arms were painted. There were just 1 or 2 that weren't painted, because the guy who organised it trying to sort of raise awareness for the 9th Age in Yorkshire or Leeds. So he allowed unpainted armies to come, which is fair enough. I don't have an issue with that at all. But yeah, the standard was good. There was a couple of 9th age from the site there, a couple of play testers, one of which came up and had a word with me about how I thought dwarves should go, where they should go. Not that my opinion carries much weight, but I did stress that bounce spells at the minute were absolutely useless. Um, Trying to get spells through, unless you're 4 or 5 dice in them, it's just not going to happen. People talk about bounce spell spamming as if it's a thing. I can tell you now, it's definitely not a thing. When people are bringing level 3 and level 4 wizards, they get to dispel your bounce spells at +3. I tell you now, you're not going to get any spells off unless there's a massive difference between dispel and power dice. If it's like 12-6 or something, and they've already used their scroll, then it's just not going to happen. So I did mention that. He asked me sort of how I found dwarves played. I think dwarves play fine. I've got no issue with the way dwarves play at all. I just think my results personally, were down to probably too many eggs in one basket in the King's Guard. I definitely won't do that again. And probably a lot of bad luck. First game was just stupid. That was just me playing badly and getting involved in some really high magic phases against an undead player who was basically getting loads of zombies back. I didn't have the list to deal with that, or maybe I did, but just played it wrong. Game 2 was just one of those games where things happen and you can't do anything about it. My arm saves were terrible. I lost too many dwarves to shooting in the shooting phase, and in this game against Pell, yeah, the luck was just out there. Bad magic phases, taking off my magic phase in turn 1 with his shooting when he took out the anvil, and yeah, just a bit of bad luck with the reform from the beards and other bits and pieces, and maybe I could have got a bit better result. But anyway, I'll do a proper summary video for my next one, where I go into things in a little bit more detail and maybe discuss my list and some changes for the future. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. Subscribe and leave a comment. We'll always get back to you. And yeah, thanks very much, and catch you again. Bye bye.